We're back in Burbank, California at Anonymous Studios to bring you episode 4 of Behind the File. Not only is today's guest a good friend of mine, but he's also one of the most all-around DJ producers I know. From the nation's top clubs, to touring with major label groups, to having his music supported by names like Diplo, Cascade, and Dylan Francis, DJ Spryte truly has a resume like no other. Let's go talk to him and see if we can find out a couple secrets to his success. Well, it's great to have you in the studio today, man.
Yeah, great to be here.
I guess, let's just start at the beginning. I know I get it all the time with my name, but I guess DJ Spryte, where did the name come from? How did you get that?
I mean, I don't have the best story, like I was in jail and I was a spider, like stabbing people. I think the way I look, being like a tall, lanky person, that I would play basketball, and this dude would just always scream, "Pass it to the spider," because I think I looked like a crazy spider. And having a radio show in college, they were like, "Yo, you need like a nickname. You need a name for your show. It's gonna be dope." So I just was like, all right, I'm the Spider. And then it just transitioned to DJ Spider, and that's it.
So when I first moved to LA, I remember meeting you at this meetup down in Santa Monica.
Yeah, I remember.
And I remember at the time you had just won this big national mix contest, which put you on tour with Mark Ronson.
Yes.
So I guess you just tell us a little bit about that and
Yeah, that was a while ago, probably 10, 11 years ago. I won this thing called Next on the Decks that was put on through BPM magazine. Yeah, it was a contest, I think, to pick the best 30-minute mix, and Mark Ronson would choose it. You'd go on tour with him, and you got to play at Winter Music Conference in Miami. I just figured, what do I have to lose? Made a mix, sent it in, didn't think much of it, and then I get a call. They're like, "We're here with Mark Ronson, you won the contest," and I'm like, I thought it was a joke at first, but that was like a huge jumping off point and motivational thing for me, where I had been DJing for a long time up until then, but that put me into a different thing and allowed me to meet other people and stuff. So they sent me on tour with Mark around the US, but the first show was in LA at this club LAX, which this guy DJ AM, who you may have heard of, that was his club at the time, and I had just randomly met him. So it was just all of these weird things in my life coming together at the same time. And so being able to open for Mark Ronson at this BPM sponsored party at AM's nightclub was just this crazy thing for me, And then the next level of it was going to Winter Music Conference and opening for what was just going to be Mark Ronson at Mansion, but it turned into the battle of Mark Ronson and AM, and it was them versus each other is what it said. But really it was just, I opened and then they each did a set, but it would turn into the most epic night of my life. I mean, it was unbelievable, and I learned so much from DJing from that night. Seeing AM come up there, doing his whole style with the scratching and the blending and all the crazy fast mixing and the impressive skill DJ stuff while making girls dance and making dudes go, oh shit, But then seeing Mark Ronson come on with the East Coast style, not have that scratching, but bring this musical thing and the dropping at the perfect moments and knowing how to tailor the set perfectly to what's going on, and the ability for him to see Timbaland and Pharrell there and do a whole Timbaland Pharrell set where you just go back and forth song for song. That's and awesome. Each of their sides and of their camp would go, oh, going crazy, and Fat Joe and all these people are there, and I'm just, my mind is blown, and previous to them DJing, I was the most nervous I had ever been in my life, and then I get to see this, and it's just burned into my mind, basically.
That's such a good story, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's sick.
I know that you do like all the biggest clubs around the country, from Vegas, Chicago, New York. But recently, you know, I saw you went on tour with Blink-182, which I think is really awesome because it's a whole different side of DJing, like being on tour with a major group in a band. So I think a lot of people would just like to know, like, you know, how you got together with them and like what was your experience and like, you know, as opposed to being a club DJ and just traveling.
It was amazing. I mean, it was like one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And it really pulled me out of the mentality of the clubs. And I do other things with DJing, but it was so different than anything I've done. And just to get that opportunity was, I'm so grateful for, and it was amazing. It was really due to Travis Barker, and then everybody in Blink is amazing. But Travis, I've known for a long time. Him and his manager hit me up like, yo, do you want to go on tour with Blink? I'm like, what do you mean? You know, and they're like, you would open up on this whole tour around North America. And I'm like, yeah, you know, let's do this. So it was really cool. I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I pictured a whole different thing before I left. I kept thinking, I need to prepare. And every time I'd prepare, I would just do different things. And once I got there was when I learned what I really should have been preparing for. And like the first show was so different than I thought it would be that as I went, like my sets would change and I learned how to really engage the crowd more and rock the mic, and I realized it was more of a show environment where they're watching me and they want to see me put on a show, and I get to teach them what DJing is in a way, you know. The crowd was looking to me like, what the hell is this guy gonna do? A lot of them were just like thumbs down, like right off the bat, like this is like whack, I don't want to DJ. Or some of them were supportive, but either way they're kind of standing there with their arms crossed. So I had to loosen them up, get them into it, and show them what DJing is, and mixing all types of genres together, and scratching and all the artistic parts to it. I got tons of like Facebook and Twitter hate messages of like, I hate you, you know, this and that, and then I got tons of really good feedback, and I think that was cool to see both sides. But seeing the few people there that you could see their eyes opening when you're mixing Blitzkrieg bop and you cut to the acapella and then you put a halftime beat under it and then you put a Kanye West acapella over that halftime rock song and then put drums under it and then bring in Fall Out Boy, and you know that they're like, oh, he's doing something and he's taking my songs and remixing them in a cool way live. And even when I made mistakes, I thought that was the beauty of it, to show them that, you know. And some places like Seattle, I'd be like, you know, I'm gonna take Pearl Jam and just go off on a whim and like take, you know, like Even Flow and loop the beginning and put a cue point at the end, and then just try to do a mashup live and take like Jay-Z, and I just got on the mic and be like, you guys want me to do this? Like, I tried to become friends with them in a way, because it was like, they looked like they were as nervous as I was. So like, let's do this, you know.
All right, so you really have done it all. I mean, we talked about some of the club stuff. You went on tour with Blink-182, but you also managed to like get into this whole high-end private and corporate market. You just came back from Sundance. You've done shows for HBO, E, Red Bull. I mean, that's just to name a few, a ton of things, which I feel is another whole side of DJing that a lot of DJs don't know about, or, you know, should know about.
Right.
So I guess like if you want to talk a little bit about that, and, you know, how did you get into that, and what's your perspective on that again, as opposed to like club DJing?
I mean, I love having that as part of my life, and I think it's good, you know, to have that. Like, it goes all over the place. Some of them are more corporate than others. I try to stay in a lane where, like, they know who I am, and they're booking me for that and for the artistic part. Of course, I'm going to cater to what they want to do, but I like doing, like you said, Sundance, where it's very artistic people and these movie makers and people that make music and do stuff and music supervisors, and so then they hear my sets and I get to get really creative, and they go crazy and are dancing to everything from like Fleetwood Mac to Biggie to like anything I decide to mix in and mix together, you know, and Talking Heads and putting like Bob Marley and Common acapellas and, you know, stuff like that. Really, when I met DJ AM and saw what a lot of the things he was doing, it was inspirational, because he was doing some of the things that I thought were sellout-ish, and you had to like hate yourself to do, or like get into a different zone of DJing. but he was doing it while like keeping his integrity and the artistic thing to it and having fun. So I remember seeing him at nightclubs and going, oh my God, you could do a nightclub and still have fun and play 90s hip hop and play rock and be crazy creative. And it's different now a little bit, but that's what I saw then. And then he's going and doing the network pop party, and you go there and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be weird. And you go and he's playing super dope things and doing doubles of crazy mashups and putting acapellas over things and playing songs I love, and all the people are like, this is great, and I'm like, I want to do this, you know? So really seeing him just made me go, I want to do that, and that was my life, you know, like I'm doing these other things, but I want to gear towards that, you know, and I got associated with his manager early on, and that helped me, I think, get a lot of plugs in that world. I mean, one of the first things I remember is them saying, oh, could you fill in for AM in Dallas for this Absolute Vodka party? And I'm like, this was like the morning, like they call me, I'm like, when? And they're like, today. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, go to the airport like right now. And I'm like, are you serious? They're like, yeah, just go and buy the ticket and send us the receipt. I'm like, okay. So I just drive to the airport. I'm like, how much is it? Okay, on my credit card. And then I send them the thing, and I go, and I end up meeting this person that I'm like super good friends with now. Like, you never know what's gonna happen. Like, life works in the weirdest ways, you know. But how I went and did that party, and it went good, and then one thing always leads to another. You know, like I always say, like, you never know what you're doing. Even if a gig feels like it sucks and 2 people are listening to you, one of those people could be like the best person for your career or friendship or something. You know, like, treat everything as if it's a big thing. You know, even if I go to a club, I'm like, this sucks, I still act like there's a million people there, or I'm getting paid $1 million, or, you know, because you don't know, like, you know, and it's fun if you just get into it like that too, you know.
No, that bit of advice is so key. I couldn't agree any more with that. Like, you get some people that get so like, oh, it sucked, so I didn't take it seriously, I didn't care, but you're so right. Where, like, you know, they brought you out there, put on a show, you never know who's in there. It could be that one person, the only person in there. And that, like, you know, can like just totally blow your career up. So
exactly.
Amazing advice. So I gotta ask, I always find these so hilarious. I'll be scrolling through Instagram and there'll be the Maglite videos. They kill me. So, you know, you're always in an airport and it's like the magazine and then you're doing the same face. How did you just start doing that?
Well, that came about because of Vine, R.I.P. Vine, sorry, down the tubes. I remember, I was like, oh, I want to come up with stupid videos, you know, like on Vine, and you can do 6 seconds, and you could flash back and forth. So I don't know how many people have been to Vegas, but there's a store that's like all underwear or something, and it just shows like, it's like boxers, and it'll be like a dude's boxers, it says like home of the Whopper with like a, you know, like an arrow to like your balls or something, and like, it's just like horrible, dumb things. So I walk in there and I was filming each underwear and then doing a reaction, like, whoa, you know, I thought that would be funny. And the girl got all weird with me and came over like, why are you filming the underwear? And I'm like, oh, I'm just filming underwear. And then I'm like, why am I filming underwear? I feel really weird. So I just laughed and I'm like, shit. And then I still had like 3 seconds to fill up. And I walked past that magazine store, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna pretend I'm a magazine. I saw like a shark or something, and I was like, ooh, I'm pretending a shark. And then I saw like some dude, and I'm like, oh. And I put it, and all these comments were like, dude, that was hilarious. And I'm like, people like me doing that. So I did another one. I did just 2 on Vine, I think, or a couple. And Instagram came out with the 15-second video, and I'm like, oh, this is it. This is made for my magazine thing. So like, next thing I went, I'm like, here we go. And everybody thinks, they're like, how do you do it, man? Like, you edit it and then like put it in. I'm like, I would not do it if it took that much effort. Like this thing takes me at the most 5 minutes, usually like 1 minute.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, I definitely look forward to many more. I always love watching them every time I see them. Now, for a while now, I've been seeing your remixes pop up everywhere. I personally play so many of them. The 6791 Fetty Wap all the time. My all-time favorite, The Murder, Tribal. I still play that all the time. I love that. But
people just say that to me, it's just so crazy.
It's just so
I remember
good.
making that. That was one of the first things I ever made on Ableton. And I made it like 4 banana split, like for AM. I was like hoping, I'm like, well, AM and Mike B and all those dudes play this, like, and then they played it there, and I was like so happy, you know. But that's what inspired me to make that. And people like, I still play it. I'm like, damn. I was like,
I still play. I even have like re-edits of it where it goes into different things. But no, it's amazing.
Wow.
And you've done a whole bunch. I mean, from trap, future bass, funky house. You did Coldplay, Galantis, with Jim Jones. You got a bunch of stuff in the works. I guess, you know, stepping into the production field now, how did that come about? Like, you know, how did you make that turn into becoming Spryte, like the artist?
Well, I mean, I've always done production. I used to be in hip hop groups and just make beats on MPCs and, you know, before computers and any of that stuff. Like, that's how old I am. So doing remixes was always fun for me and something I wanted to do. Now it just seems like it's more part of the deal. If you're a DJ, like, you put stuff out, you know, more than just mixes. I was putting out so many mashups and whatever, those kind of things, bootlegs. So to do my own remixes was a cool thing. And I used to do original songs, but it's fun to remix people's songs because other DJs are gonna play it and have a use for it. I try to look for songs that need a remix and they're inspiring me to go, oh, this is gonna be dope. I can already hear like what I'm gonna do with this and what needs to happen, you know, and why this needs to be in the world. I think because I would play it, you know.
Keep it up. I mean, I love it. As I said, play them all the time.
Yeah, thanks.
You check it out. Go grab the Spryte remix. It's dope. All right, so this wouldn't be behind the file without asking a couple technical questions.
Yeah.
So I guess just real quick, Ableton or Logic?
Ableton, 100%.
Serum or Massive?
Serum.
Sausage fattener or no sausage fattener?
I'm gonna go no.
No sausage fattener.
No,
that's a bold statement.
I don't think I've ever put a song out with sausage fattener on it. I will say it's fun to like crank the knob,
to make it mad.
I don't need, you know, I'm not the big fan of fat sausages. Ayo, no.
But seriously, like, if I opened a Spryte project, is there anything like any kind of like trick or plugin, kind of a go-to where like you know you're gonna find it, you're gonna use it all the time? It could be anything, small, little.
I'm constantly learning. I mean, I try to incorporate scratching into my remixes just because I love scratching, and so I think that's a cool, special, unique thing in there. But as far as plugins, I mean, the multi-band dynamics on Ableton that's built in is really dope, and there's like this thing called OTT in there that's dope, and but everything is per song. Like you said, on the Coldplay one, I want one kind of sound. On the Galantis remix I did, I want another one. On the Fetty Wap, I want another one. You know, some are way harder. And like I just did a Maroon 5 remix, and that's way funkier and smoother sounds. And I'm not going to use the same plugins as I just also did like a Last Resort Papa Roach remix, and that is way harder and has different sounds. You know, and I collaborate with different people, so you know, they add their things into it. So.
Thanks for coming, man. It was a pleasure, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was great talking to you.
Yeah.
I guess just in closing, is there anything that you're working on now that you want to like plug and let people, you know, so they would know about? And where can people find your music and a little bit more about you on the web?
You can find all my social media through my website, djspyder.com, which is DEEJAYSPIDER.com, DJ Spyder. Instagram, just normal DJ SPIDER, and I have a bunch of stuff I'm going to put out. Yeah, like this Last Resort Papa Roach remix, this Maroon 5 remix. A ton of stuff is in the works, and then a lot of different things. But I'll post it all up when it comes out, and just peep it on there.
Yeah, well, check it out. You know, all the links will be in the bio to all of Spryte's stuff, and
Peace. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Once again, I want to give a huge shout out to Spryte for being here today.
Yep, thank you.
For all your production like knowledge needs, check out anonymousstudiosla.com. Also for all your file and edit needs, check out directmusicservice.com. And I heard we have a special giveaway on this episode.
Yeah, for this in the download pack, they asked us to give something, so I'm gonna put the Ableton session from my Papa Roach Last Resort remix, so you can see how it was made and see all the different things, and even play around and do your own remix of the remix.
Yeah. Don't sleep. That's a really good giveaway. Make sure you download that, and until next time, we're going to get back to this music.
Peace.
Peace.